guys, it's Jennifer. Today, what I want to talk to you about is something that is probably going to blow most of your minds because you have been completely brainwashed to what is going on in Venezuela. It's actually being censored, so I'm trying to fub up the words. But I want you to understand that conservatives, North American conservatives, are actually a lot like, pretty much the same as the people that voted for Maduro. The ones that are considered Chavistas and the ones that supported Hugo Chavez. You're going to say, people are already typing. I know it. I know you're already typing. Oh my gosh, you're crazy. You don't know anything, you idiot. Because I've been reading through my comments. I always read my comments. If you're new here, welcome. But I read all my comments. And I've been taking screenshots of those because I'm going to show you something in a different video on how close-minded people on both sides of the aisle are. But right now, I want you to understand what the people that voted for Maduro, which was 8 or 9 million people out of a country of 30 million people that voted him in twice. That's another thing. People think that Hugo Chavez put him into office. No, he didn't. They had an election after Hugo Chavez was murdered. When he died of some mysterious cancer. But he beat Radonsky, an Ashkenazi. Yeah, he beat him. Hugo Chavez beat him, and then Maduro beat him by a landslide. There's a reason for that. Because they are Chavistas. And I want to say that I consider Chavista essentially the same thing as the way we use the word patriot. Because that's essentially the same word. It's a synonym. We just don't understand it because all we hear is from the mainstream media or people from Twitter that you don't even know if they're real people, whatever the case may be. And I don't fault anyone for this because they have ran a very amazing psyop on all of us. But if you read their constitution, if you read what the Bolivarian Revolution was all about, it is essentially, it runs parallel with our revolution. The way we fought against the crown, taxation without representation, to self-govern, all of those things to be free from over there, okay? And here we have gotten away from what our forefathers have done. And that's what happened in Venezuela as well. And so back in 1999, when they elected Hugo Chavez, they were going back to that. They were taking back their country. And this is going to upset you. But it's the truth, okay? So just please listen. You remember the hope, the change, the nationalism, the patriotism that our current administration promised us? To drain the swamp, to get out all those Goldman Sachs, elite people out of the government, all of these rhinos that have been there forever, put them behind bars and all of that stuff. Have any of them been put behind bars? No. He filled it back up with Goldman Sachs, bankers, Rothschild, and he was bailed out by Soros and the Rothschilds when he did his bankruptcy. Most of us don't know that because we don't want to look into it. I understand. I voted for Trump. I know. I know all too well. I was fooled. But what I'm explaining to you is that is what Chavez and Maduro have done. It's not an easy thing. We know that. It's to find the corrupt people and get them out and all that. They essentially drain the swamp. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Do they have to do kind of harsh things in order to get these things done? Yes. Would we have expected anything less if the draining the swamp would have really happened here? No, that's what we wanted. We wanted, a line. We wanted a perp walk to Gitmo. Well, that's exactly what Hugo Chavez did. He fired like an entire, who was it? I forget, but the entire, probably, oh crap, I'll have to look it up. I'll put it down below whenever I edit this video. On national TV. Chavez and Trump were a lot alike in their, when Trump had his, I need to stop saying his name because that gets me censored every time. When they were running, they're both harsh. They were both they have a lot of things in common. Actually, Chavez even had his own reality show where he was firing people too. I'm sure most of you don't know that. Okay, and so whenever he died, there was another election. Maduro won. Fair and square. Beat the Ashkenazi Jew that we tried to input over there. And so this time we just gave up. But that's besides the point. I'm getting off track. I want to explain to you how the Chavistas, the people that support Maduro, how they are so much like us. And even the ones that don't support Maduro. Because they think that random guy named Juan is legit. They think that he is going to do the same thing, stand up for their Venezuelan rights. They also don't understand the reasons that their economy collapsed. And before you start commenting, they collapsed their own economy because they have oil enough. Don't. Watch my playlist. Educate yourself, please. Because the comments that I see all day, every day, are parroting mainstream media. It's funny how so many people will say mainstream media is fake news, but all day long in my comments, all I hear is parroting mainstream media talking points. They're starving their people. They're eating cats and dogs. They're eating zoo animals. No, no, and no. Are they having very hard times? Absolutely. I would never say they're not. But the thing is that people aren't connecting is, like I've said before, the 2015, 2014, whenever we lifted our oil export ban. I'm not going to go through that again. I will put my Venezuela playlist at the end of this video, but I want to explain to you how similar we as conservatives are to the people in Venezuela, okay? And essentially most of them. Because even if they're not Chavista, most of them still have that same Bolivarian revolution patriotism. You could essentially use that word synonymously, okay? These are the things that they are about. Traditional family values. Having God in school. Religion in general. They are a very Christian nation. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's extremely high. I would say at least in 90%. Okay? Very Christian nation. Anti-abortion. Very much. for pretty much any circumstance. You actually can go to jail for like 6 months for having one. I think there are some, like, okay, the mother's dying on the table type situations, but besides that, not happening. They, even in their constitution, which I'm going to show you in a minute, I've showed it before, but people still aren't getting it. You're not getting that they want the same thing that conservatives want. The thing is, they're just called leftist by our media. That doesn't mean they're the same as the leftist here. They are nothing alike. Nothing. That's why you haven't heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez say anything to support the Venezuelans. Don't you think that she would be the first one on a plane down there if this was real socialism? No, she hasn't. She's actually even said, you know, that's not really the socialism that I support. I really support the kind of the Norway. She named a few other white countries. That's pretty funny, huh? Why has she done that? I'm going to show you why. Right here. This is what she's about. Right here. This, in Venezuela, would get her kicked out of the country. Doing crazy crap like this. I'm not saying they're all xenophobic or whatever. They're not progressives like the ones here. That stuff isn't open. This right here, this type of stuff that we have going on in America, reading to little small children in this outfit, or having a multiple children praised for dressing like this and this, and pushing this type of lifestyle is not what they're about at all. They are about freedom, just like the Patriots here, and family values, morals, ethics, and everything that we believe in. Well, most, on the conservative side, I would say, for the majority. And that's why people are so confused about what's going on. You should see Twitter. They're like, why hasn't AOC said anything about Venezuela? Because she knows. She knows darn good and well that the socialists there are nothing like her. Nothing. And we collapse their economy. I'm not going to continue going through that. If you don't understand that still, watch my playlist. I'm going to put it at the end of the video. As the little card. This is the thing. And if you are Venezuelan, I want you to understand this. Or if you have family, friends in Venezuela, I want you to get this to them. I think it's too late, honestly, but I still want them to understand. If you support this Juan Guaido, the Freemason, yeah, that guy, yeah, he's a Freemason. Went to college here in the States, George Washington University. Yeah. I'm sure most of you didn't know that. I want you to know that you will be getting this in your country. They will silence your speech on religion. They will take Christianity out of your schools. They will say that boys are now girls, and you can have your children taken away if you don't allow them to do that. I'm going to get on to their constitution now. so you can actually understand what their revolution stands for, what these people stand for. If you've seen the videos of Maduro and their the other guy, not Juan, the ambassador, you'll see him with his, I'll just use this, and he's always waving that Constitution. I'm going to show you some parts of it that I think many of you are going to be absolutely shocked about how similar it is to how we would like things to be here. They just approved abortions up until the day of birth in New York. Trying to do it in Vermont now. We're supposed to let our children choose their own gender. That's America now. And what the Venezuelan people don't understand is that random guy named Juan, Freemason, that's all he is random guy named Juan. Yep, we are going to start getting food and things are going to start looking better. They're going to seem better for a while. But then, it's going to happen, just like it has here. It boggles my mind how any Christian can say that this is okay. I don't get it. Alright, guys. I don't see how we're not rioting in the streets for them. Random guy named Juan is not going to help them. And if you're Venezuelan, you need to share this. I mean, I feel that it's already too late. Because people are so, they won't even, most people won't even make it to this part of the video. Because they've already typed out their little comment of, they're starving. They're all starving. Yeah, a lot of them are. There's 16 million people starving here. Should China or Russia come overthrow us? Sure, why not? Why not? Let's look at their constitution. Alright, I'm going to go over the Constitution, well, some aspects of it, because it's quite long. I just want to start with their preamble, where it states, the people of Venezuela exercising their powers of creation and invoking the protection of God, the historic example of the liberator Simon Bolivar, and the heroism and sacrifice. They have God in their Constitution. Yes. So let's skip down to Article 5. I will link this so you can read the entire thing, because a lot of people keep saying, well, I don't think you really know what we shouldn't be making. Yeah, I do, because I've read the Constitution. Okay, moving right along. Article 5. Sovereignty resides untransferable in the people who exercise it directly in the manner provided for this Constitution and in the law, and indirectly by suffrage through the organs exercising public power. The organs of the state. This just means right here that it's untransferable. The people made their election, and the people got to choose. Okay? let's skip down to Article 12. I wish that we had this here. This is what I've been trying to explain to y'all. The mineral and hydrocarbon deposits of any nature that exist within the territory of the nation, beneath the territorial seabed, within the exclusive economic zone, on the continental shelf, in the property of the Republic, are of public domain and therefore inalienable and non-transferable. The seacoast are public domain property. 13. The territory shall never be assigned, transferred, leased, or in any manner whatsoever conveyed, even temporarily or partially, to a foreign state or other international law. This means that the oil belongs, the gold, the coltan, belongs to the people. To the people. Yes, the companies that refine it, yeah, they get a cut of it. But it's just like if you found oil on your property here in the U.S. and you would get a cut from it, same thing. They own the mineral rights, which is how they pay for the health care, how they pay for the roads, all the stuff that I've explained. Also, sorry ConocoPhillips, sorry Exxon, and who was it, Texaco, that tried to take advantage of them. Sorry, you lose because it's right here in their Constitution. You just thought that they were going to be too stupid to understand it. And that's why they were kicked out of the country. Okay, let's go down to 43. Right here. The right to life is inviolable. No law shall provide for the death penalty, and no authority shall apply the same. The state shall protect the life of persons who are deprived of liberty, serving in armed forces, civilian services, or otherwise subject to authority. So they don't have the death penalty. How evil are they? So evil, right? It doesn't matter what your thought on. I'm proving to you that this is their Constitution and this is what they abide by. Let me see. Article. Oh, yeah. Also in Article 43, it also the special provisions to soldiers that are outside of, if they ever have to serve outside of the country, they have special provisions, and no predatory lenders. Yeah. Article 58. Right here. Communications are free and plural and involve the duties and responsibilities indicated by law. Everyone has the right to timely, truthful, and impartial information without censorship, in accordance with the principles of the Constitution, as well as the right to reply and corrections when they are directly affected by inaccurate or offensive information. Children and adolescents have the right to receive adequate information for purposes of their overall development, meaning their books aren't jacked. They are actually written according to the truth. Their news, as much as people want to say, oh no, they can't speak out and all of this, that's a blatant lie. It is a blatant lie. Because if people couldn't speak out and were tortured for speaking out against him, how are they doing it? How are they protesting? Come on, y'all. Use your thinking caps here. 58. Oh, I love this one. 59. The state guarantees from freedom of cult and religion. All persons have the right to profess their religious faiths and cults this is where I want to get to. The autonomy and independence of religious confessions and churches is likewise guaranteed down here. father and mother are entitled to have their sons and daughters receive religious education in accordance with their convictions. Father and mother, sons and daughters. That's all I'll say about that, because I think you know where I'm going with that one. Number 60, every person is entitled to protection of his or her private life, meaning no paparazzi and stuff like that. 63, suffrage is a right. It shall be exercised through free, universal, direct. Oh, yes, right here. Random guy named Juan, you just violated Article 63. Goodbye. So it shall be exercised through free, universal, direct, and secret elections. The law shall guarantee the principles and personalization of suffrage and proportionate representation. Oh, crap. Sorry, Juan. Then we have 70, which pretty much participation and involvement of people in the exercise of their sovereignty in political affairs can be manifested by voting. All of this pretty much he has already violated 63, 70, 71, and 72. I'm not going to read all of them line by line. That would take forever. I do want to point out these. 75, this state shall protect families in a society. I want to read where it talks about, again, the religious, and then the freedom, motherhood. Number 76, motherhood and fatherhood. Motherhood and fatherhood. Father and mother. Father and mother. They don't take this lightly. Okay? 77, marriage, which is based on free and consent and absolute equality of rights and obligations of the spouses, is protected. A stable de facto union between man and woman. Man and woman. Okay, sorry if I'm getting a little hostile. Young people have the right and duty to have active participants in development process. The state, with joint participation of families and society, shall create opportunities to stimulate the productive transition into adult life, including particular training for and access for their first employment. This means to help them to become productive citizens in society. This isn't some stand in a line and get your welfare check. At all. Okay. Number 82, the right to safe, comfortable, hygienic housing and health care is a right, not for profit. I'm not going to go through all of them. Oh, housewives in 86, housewives will receive Social Security benefits just as if they were working as a working person, because they are considered, that they've done part of their duty to society. So their Constitution's pretty dang on point, if you ask me. Also, they're, if you get let go from a company, they have to ensure that you're taken care of for a couple weeks or something like that. I mean, is this dictatorship that we're speaking of? Or are we being bamboozled? Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, we are. Let me see, what's on 93? Stable employment shall be guaranteed by law with provisions as appropriate to restrict any form of unjustified dismissal, meaning that you can't just get fired just because they don't like you or just because. In Louisiana, you can. I know that for a fact. They can just fire you for any doggone reason. And usually, if you've ever been high up on the food chain of a company, they like to fire those kind of people because they don't want to pay you too much, and then they get a, new blood in there and pay them way less. It's pretty weird how that crony capitalism goes here. But I think you'll see where I'm going with this. PSYOPs aren't hard to do whenever all the mainstream media is on board, but you have to know what to look for. And I'm trying to show y'all this. If you'd like to learn more about how to learn about PSYOPs and fallacies and all of these things, join me on Patreon. I have a whole 7 people there right now. It is completely, it's so I'm so heartbroken that so many people still don't understand what's going on there. And this is going to be if you thought losing the, 20,000 American soldiers that we've lost since the war began in the Middle East was something, that's going to be nothing compared to what's about to happen. John Bolton's little joke with the 5,000 soldiers that he put on that notepad, that wasn't for them. That was for the press to see. That's their little games they play. They wanted them to print that. We're going to send 5,000 Marines or soldiers down to Colombia. John Bolton, you have lost your mind if you think 5,000 soldiers can hold back a militia of almost 2 million people that have been using guns and training for essentially all of their lives. That's just their militia. That's not counting their army. Then you have the ELN, the FARC, you have all of these other things. You also know the IDF was sent down there yesterday? Or day before yesterday? Yeah, the Israeli Defense Force. Well, I hate to laugh because it's probably wrong of me. But, the people in Brazil and all of Latin America aren't really big fans of those people. So I'm thinking they're going to send them in first. They're going to think that, oh, this is going to be easy. We do this every day to the Palestinians. Oh, wait, I can't talk about that. Can't talk about that because now I'm going to get fined $250,000 or something, put in jail. Yeah, we can't talk about that. But, they put IDF soldiers in Brazil. Yeah, they're not big fans of them down there. So what's going on right now is John Bolton and his little thugs like Elliot Abrams, the criminal that ran Iran-Contra. Yeah. Well, they're highly underestimating the power of the Brazilian military, all of Latin America. I hate to even say this. First of all, if you're in the military right now, I want you to know. I want you to read the Nuremberg regulations. That you don't have to do anything. If you have sons and daughters in the military, you might want to really look into this. The body count is going to be unmeasurable. Because we think that Brazil's on our side right now. It's not what's going on. As John Bolton, Elliot Abrams, and Bibi Netanyahu, of course, are playing checkers, Vladimir Putin, well, and probably Bibi, Vladimir Putin and Bolsonaro are playing the game of Risk. If you don't remember what the game of Risk is, it's the game of world domination. They are baiting us, playing us. Once we get down there, Latin America will prevail. This isn't something that makes me happy. I've been trying to warn about it, and people just want to say, "You're crazy. We're the strongest military in the world." Is that so? Then how come the USS Fitzgerald and the USS McCain both were dead in the water? Seems like there's some type of technology that can completely kill all the electronics in planes and ships. Some technology that we don't have. But the Olnik had it. Is it the Olnik? The one that hit the Fitzgerald? Might as well just go ahead and tell everything. I mean, I tried to sprinkle the bits and pieces for people to figure it out. And if you heard about the empty 777 plane that came from Russia and went to Venezuela yesterday, do you really think that was empty? Pretty sure they have that same technology. And that's why about a year or two ago we were trying to get Super Tucanos. These right here. Yeah, they're old. They're not super stealth and all this. Why would we want something like that? Because the electronics aren't on there like the ones we have now. They aren't vulnerable to the, essentially, to make you understand it, it's essentially like an EMP type of weapon. Zap. Planes falling out of the sky. I did a video on the one that randomly fell out of the sky when it left Puerto Rico, one of our Puerto Rican National Guard planes, and everybody's like, "Oh, it was old, it happens." No, it doesn't. And then the two that in Japan that had to do an emergency landing at the same time. It kills me to say that we aren't the superpower of the world anymore. But it also kills me to know that the military that I served wasn't for our country and for our safety and for humanitarian aid. The military-industrial complex and those people, the elite type people, just were using us as cannon fodder. Just like they are now. They still are. So don't be surprised if in a couple days we start seeing random airplane crashes, our ships being dead in the water. And then it's going to become just a guerrilla warfare. And I'm telling you, we won't win that. We wouldn't even come close. And I'm not saying that to demean our military. There's an international military war games every year. We don't win it. Brazil wins, Russia wins, because they train with the actual hand-to-hand jungle warfare, Vietnam style stuff. We have defaulted to our technology. And that's our problem. That's where we're going to lose. We cannot beat Latin America. First of all, we shouldn't even be down there. Because all of the people down there, they want what you and I want. They aren't standing in line, not working, just trying to get a check. They believe that their natural resources in their country should be shared amongst the people. And when I say shared, I mean to pave the roads, to have health care, to have education. That's what their natural resources goes to. They don't have an IRS. It's not coming from the taxpayers, and that's where North Americans are confused. We think that the socialism down there is coming from the working man's paycheck. It's not. And they didn't want us to understand this at all, because then their big corporate, their corporate subsidies and all of this stuff, and oh, we hate socialism. The corporations love socialism. They use it every day. It's how they get by with all their corporate subsidies. But yet we demonize people on food stamps. It's laughable when you actually understand it. I mean, it's disgusting, but I just don't understand how people just won't even take the time to understand what's going on down there. Because this is way bigger than, oh, let's just overthrow, just like we've done in Argentina, Peru. I could go on and on. There's like 80 of them. 80 regime changes that we've done. That's what I can't understand, how people don't see that this is the same thing, the same playbook, except this one's very public. They're outright saying it. But yet you're still believing that they're starving because of an organic reason? Because they mismanage their funds? When the Bank of England is holding their gold, when we're holding their money, that we get gas and oil from them? Well, I don't think we get gas from them, because we get a lot of gas. We get oil from them. They send it up here. We refine it. We don't send them any money back. So, are they mismanaging their money? Or are we completely screwing them? And not just us. Well, yeah. And that's another thing that just makes me crazy. If you say that our current administration is different than the last administration, then how come he continued the sanctions? If we care so much about the humanitarian aid, why are there still sanctions? Why are we preventing other countries from sending them products? Why people are like, oh, they're aligning themselves with Russia and Iran and China. those weren't their first options. They were allies with us. But we screwed them. We gave them no other option. What would you do? They had no other option. Their option was, and then they still kept sending us oil. Still. Till Friday. 700,000 barrels a day, give or take. Still trying to have some type of dialect with us. And we just kept stomping on them. Alright guys, so that's the truth, and we will see what's happening. It's not looking good right now. So I will do whatever I can to share as much whenever I'm finding out, but just be prepared. Be prepared. Things aren't looking good.